2 minutes before I start, well, not even a minute, like just as I'm about to start, I kick this thing and it like moves everything back an inch. It's like, for fuck's sake, so many dramas. Good morning. I'm not sure if anyone can see this because OBS went and crashed as it was meant to, because I automate everything. I've got a button and it sets everything. So anyway, people might wander in, people might not. That's fine. I just thought I did set it for 9:30, so I thought I'd better show up. I'm still tinkering with things and yeah, so let me just keep an eye on some settings and stuff. I'll be a little bit distracted for a little while. It should be okay. Okay, I think the lighting's okay. I think the light's a little overdone, but I'll watch it back. The usual stuff, okay. The sound may be a little quiet. It may be a little distorted. It may be loud. I have just rearranged stuff, okay. So be patient with me as I rearrange things. Apologies for not showing up to the last one either. You know, like I've been writing about this actually. I'm 5 years in to doing streaming and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, like I think people underestimate the amount of effort that goes into it. And it's sort of, if you sit for again, I do it for skills and practice and fun, but, you know, every so often you do need to sort of step back and go, why am I doing this? Where do I want to be? Is it worth it? Is it worth the investment and cost and time? You know, it's not just about like cost, which is quite high. You know, you got to pay for subscriptions and, all of those sorts of things. You know, it cost me probably a couple of $100 a month, for streaming, like just to stream. Okay. And that's sort of, not including hardware and not including my time, which, you know, again, that's an opportunity cost. Is it worth it? Do I want to do it? And, you know, like last week I sat and I was like, you know, I feel obligated to do this, but why do I feel obligated to do it? I'm not, you know, like it's one, for the most part, it's just, you know, I'm just tired. So, and trying to figure out sort of what this channel is, what I want to do with it, whether it's worth the effort, whether it's a skill set that, you know, like you reach a ceiling. Like for me, like I've said, you know, 100 times before, when I first started doing this, I was not, I did it because I was anxious on camera. Like even to this day, like pre-recording video, you know, I end up doing 100 takes. It's, you know, it's very stressful, and then editing and all that sort of stuff. And so live streaming was fun for me because I would have to continue, have to push through. I wouldn't have to write, you know, scripts and all that sort of stuff. I don't put as much effort as I should, but, you know, it was something that works well for me. But, you know, again, 5 years, and I basically flatlined for two of those years, 3 of those years. And that's mostly because I'm not doing Culture Wars content. And, you know, well, not mostly, partially. A lot of it is because the algorithm, I decided that I didn't want to participate in the YouTube partner program, and I pulled out from that. And I didn't realize that there was actually an algorithmic penalty for doing that as well. So, but the reason that I withdrew was because you're at there's a different contractual understanding around what you can talk about. And I didn't want to be at the mercy of, you know, the traffic light system for content, you know, like, and you're held to a higher standard for copyright strikes and all that sort of stuff. And it became like I had to register like my company, like with America, and it cost more to get an accountant to deal with the paperwork. And it just became a hassle. At the end of the day, it just becomes a hassle. Okay. And so I just went, nah, fuck it. But then there's obviously a penalty attached to that. So you can't just use, so you're not going to, people aren't really going to discover you or see you unless you're in the program. And also you've got to be doing, you know, a certain number of uploads, you know, shorts, all of that sort of stuff. And it's just not something that I can justify time-wise. Like I'm going to try, like I think the way forward is to just start doing some compilations of old stuff, because there is some really good stuff in there, and also revisiting some stuff and revisiting some topics that I'd like to do better this time. And so basically a lot of it is watching with much amounts of cringe, my old stuff, and sort of extracting some of the good content that's there. I hate the word content, but you know what I mean. And a lot of that has been around, so a lot of the blocker around that has been going through thousands of hours of content, right? I've got an AI script that I've created that it's actually quite useful. OpenAI ChatGPT 4.0 is actually, it's gotten better at some things. Like it is good at summarizing. If you don't want it to think for you, and you want to use AI with a light brush, you know, like, but for me, for certain things like automating transcriptions, turning the transcription of my waffly, no meandering, go nowhere bullshit, and extracting the key points and arguments into something on my website, that's really good. When it works, it's really good. When it doesn't, it's a dumpster fire. But it's getting there, right? So that's what I've been working on. Is I have had that going, but then I obviously have brushed up against the YouTube API quota, so I've got to, like, you know, you got to stage those things, or again, it costs you more money. It's just, you know, like I don't want to pay for too much out of pocket for these sorts of things. But also the priority has been getting the new website up. Now, I've got a pared down version of that website that's soft launched. You can go visit it. You can sign up to my newsletter. When I have a VIP offer, or a premium membership, or anything that is paywalled or members only, which is increasingly becoming necessary, not so much because it's going to make money, but because I need to somehow put a wall between me and AI scraping, because they're ignoring. I'll do some more stuff on this next week, but or this week, they're really going hard on scraping and training, and you can't opt out, and you know, all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. And also, you know, I want to build a community around my usuals, you know, so having the Discord, having Patreon, having that all automated, that's all being worked on. But at the moment, I've hit the assessment period, right? So speaking of AI and assessment periods, I had a test last night. And it's a short answer test. Now, you might remember that some time ago, I was actually falsely, I might add, accused of using using ChatGPT. So I was one of those people who, when Turnitin, so my university uses Turnitin, a law school, I might add, they use Turnitin, and Turnitin have marketed their AI products, their AI detection tools as 99% accurate, which is not true. Okay, there's a lot of false positives. Now, as usual, guess who falls through the cracks and manages to step on every freaking landmine? So I went through this, was it last year, where I was accused of using AI, which I don't. I use AI for automation and summarizing and stuff, but I want to be a good lawyer, first of all. Second of all, it doesn't do uni work very well. I looked at it, I tried it, and it's like, well, yeah. And also, I'm not one for outsourcing learning and thinking, and and also I'm not struggling in the unit, so it's not really an issue, right? I've already got a degree in this shit. I have no incentive to use it. Okay, you spend more, and also if you're using AI for uni stuff, be aware that you'll actually spend more time. I've experienced this as a writing tool as well. For summary, like initially I was excited because I thought, oh yeah, it can outline and, can help me with that sort of stuff. In certain use cases, yes. But when you actually want it to write, if you're a writer or anything like that, okay, you'll spend more time trying to prompt engineer to get it to do what you want, or fixing what it says and fact checking what it says, than it would be, it's an inefficient thing. It's you're better off just doing the work. It takes you 3 times as long. So anyway, that's just a position that I've got on AI for writing. It's great for transcriptions. It is excellent for transcriptions and extracting audio transcriptions and that sort of stuff. So I've got automations in using Make and Telegram. So when I record a voice note or voice message, or even just a brain dump of idea, I've got an ideas bot in Telegram that I can send a audio file, a voice message, or a just written whatever, and that will go through OpenAI. They will extract it, create a title from it, dump the actual transcription, and then write a summary and, key dot points and some, key insights, and also a list of definitions and various other things, and any counterpoints so just, for an idea, right? So I've got some, you can, whatever you want to do, you just take this transcription and do what you want with these stuff. I have that, and it automates and goes into Notion for voice notes. So I like going for drives and stuff like that. One of the things that it does really well is transcribe audio. I'm very surprised at how good it is at transcribing audio and turning my rambling bullshit like this into coherent points. Okay. Now I can share the prompt that I use if you want, but it just, anyway, I use it for that, but I'm open about that. And one thing that I'm an advocate for is not being anti-AI, but being mindful of how much you use it because of the obviously the environmental aspects and those various other things. Not using it to pass off any artist or like pay for stock, pay for things that you use. Don't just use it for personal use or various other things. And if you are going to do stuff like that, use it to brainstorm derivative works, like do something original. Like I have a Jesus bot t-shirt design that I've got ready to go, and I used this is before I got rid of my Midjourney membership on principle, because the way that an AI company handles criticism and feedback, I can choose where I send my business. Right now, Midjourney, but I cancelled my Midjourney membership. I had a yearly subscription, but I cancelled it but I did, the way that I did use it was I would use it to create composite images to help me with my illustration. It's just a shortcut. Like, I'm already an illustrator. I'm just not a great drawer. So what I would do is, create a Jesus bot with this and this and this and whatever I could think of. And then I would create a composite image out of that in Photoshop and then, vectorize it in Illustrator. So it became part of my workflow for, not being a very good sketcher. So, so I was able to sort of imagine a design. Like, otherwise I would have done, used stock, and it just saved me some time, right? I've paid for stock for as long as for 20 years. I've had an iStock and a Getty and a Shutterstock and Envato. I've got all of those subscriptions. I feel like it's much like when with streaming services with videos and movies and TV, right? I pay so many subscriptions that if there's something that isn't on any of them, I'll pirate it, and I have no problem with it. I'm like, I've paid enough. I have bought it. I've bought most of the things I watch. I've already purchased on physical media, and I just can't be asked getting out the DVD player or whatever, right? So you got to be just mindful use of these things, and it's like that's again. I'll talk about that in a minute, because I've actually got some frustrations about the way that the anti-AI stuff is going, and people are starting to build these little tribes out of it. And it's like, you're wandering out of lane and you're turning it, you're now just being anti-AI. It's like, well, I'm not anti-AI, and don't try to paint me in that way. I have, like everything, I get dragged into these things where I go, okay, I have a specific thing here, a specific concern that is in my lane that I have concerns about. Here it is. And then I get dragged and claimed, and, all of those, I get claimed by all of these idiots who just basically use it as a cover for bullying, right? So, and also use the divisions for content and clicks and to build their own little nest rather than actually deal with the issues. And, how to spot that, it takes some years of experience to spot that. And that's something that over the years I've got a pretty fine-tuned radar for. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. So I was talking about, so my university uses Turnitin. I don't use AI. I have no incentive to use, ChatGPT or anything like that for academic study. What's the point? I've got an invigilated exam, which I also oppose, but there's not much I can do about it, right? I withdrew from this torts unit, had an invigilated exam. So what that means is that they require you to install basically malware, spyware that can take over your computer. Basically, they track your eye movements, they record your space, they record your home, they record you doing the exam, they record your audio, and it's not really transparent on where the data is, where it's stored, who has access to it. There's not a lot of visibility, but also, so there's plenty of issues with these proctoring software to begin with. Something that I find fascinating, that academics, especially legal ones, just reflexively assume consent, that we've consented. And I don't consent. But so I withdrew from the unit in disgust over this use of this software. And unfortunately, I was fine with it up until it came close to the census date. But when it came up to the census date, and I just went, oh shit, I haven't written to them. I meant to voice my concerns, and I didn't, and I hadn't. So I withdrew from the unit with a view to voicing my concerns, which I didn't do because I've been busy and my husband was made redundant and we've had all these other dramas going on. It hasn't been my priority. I still object to it. But then I also had to make a decision and go, well, you don't have to. Am I going to spend the next 2 or 3 years just constantly fighting the university for everything? And it's like, you have to, the problem with some of these issues is that you have to learn to pick your battles. It's why I can't afford to be going off and spurging out over Palestine. I can't afford to do, because first of all, it dilutes your message. Second of all, you're not going to convince anyone. Third of all, you've got no power to change it. And I don't know, there's all of these reasons, right? But also I just pick battles that I can actually win. And I'm not sure that you can actually win against a university who, insist on proctoring, because people do cheat. They do use AI. Now, the problem is that I sit in a unique position because I am someone whose whole career has been writing to web standards. Okay, so I've talked about this when I talked about this when I got the false Turnitin accusation, right? Because, and I understand that I'm an easy target because I'm a plain language person. I'm an advocate for plain language legal writing, but I am also, in terms of my personal style, in terms of the way that I use plain language. I write to web standards. Now, what trains AI and these LLMs is the web, and I write for the web, and I write to SEO standards, and just naturally, like over the years, habitually, you end up, becoming. You write to standards just habitually. It's just automatic, right? Once you learn how, and I have good grammar and I have correct grammar and, all those various things. So I sort of fall through the net because it's like, well, I get flagged quite a bit more. Okay. So anyway, so in the legacy of that being falsely accused of using ChatGPT, which I hadn't, and I got cleared for that, right? And then they changed the policy at the university, which was basically they ban AI, but because I actually said, like, grammar tools, like ProWriting Aid, I use ProWriting Aid, Grammarly, any of those tools, they are AI as well, as is Google, as is all this stuff. And this was before it was all inflicted on us without our consent. Like, all of Windows is going to have AI. My computer, Apple is going to have AI built in. It's just like it is not practical for them to have this sort of blanket ban on AI tools and be recording your screen and all of that sort of stuff. And they haven't really thought this through. Also, considering they're open book exams anyway. So, and if you're recording my screen and it's an open book exam and I can look stuff up anyway, and I'm allowed to Google, but I'm not allowed to use AI, which is AI. It makes no fucking sense. You can look and see that I did it. It's no different to watching me Google and look up something on Google and look up something on ChatGPT and then comparing that, what's on that screen, with what I wrote. It's just another source. It's an open book exam, and it makes no fucking, it's such a stupid anyway. I'm getting all worked up about it because it's like driving me nuts. Anyway, I decided to fold on it. But I'd also been living in the shadow of being falsely accused of using AI. So I was like, okay. So when I'm doing assignments, what I've done as a compromise is when I write my answers, putting it through like Zero GPT to check to see if I'm going to be flagged or not. I argue that is within my right to do, because if they're going to accuse you of doing it, you should be allowed to check that. Okay, so what happened last night with the test was that even though I had written it from scratch, even though I hadn't done anything, it was saying that it was 80% AI. And so this whole thing, and it kicked you out at the end of the 2 hours. And I have ADHD and I lost track of time, so I missed an answer because they've created this fucking hostile educational environment based on a bullshit policy that makes no sense. That it's basically a hostile learning environment at this point. And I am just trying to study law, just trying to do my study law without all of this. And also, like I've said, like this is not like banning grammar checkers for a start, like that directly discriminate. Like there's so many legal, like in terms of so culturally and linguistically diverse students. So people who are English as a second language won't be able to use Grammarly, won't be able to use ProWriting Aid, nothing like that. So you can't use grammar tools. So that means, ergo, Word with its built-in AI and spelling and grammar checking that is inflicted on you without your consent. What are we supposed to do? Okay, anyway. But we have to sign up to this like ridiculous it's basically malware, like this software where it records and has access to everything, including your clipboard and there's no transparency around what data they collect. If you are neurodiverse and your eyes dart, like you'll look at me and my eyes are like, when I'm thinking, okay, when I'm thinking, I'm sitting there in the exam, not only worried that I'm going to be accused of using AI in an ordinary situation, but also that I look suspicious because my eyes are moving a certain way because they use eye tracking. You fucking do all this stuff. It's so sinister and creepy. And I had to sit and I had to go, is this worth it? And and I re-enrolled in it, and I had to do all of that thinking and reflection, and I had to go, get over it, Taya, stop, pick your battles, pick your battles, pick your battles. And now I find myself, facing all of this compulsory malware, and but also in the test being set up to fail because I have ADHD, a learning disability that they don't accommodate, and that I should actually, because I should have accommodations like extra time because of things like this, but I've never really needed it up until like now because the anxiety of taking tests. That's what happened last night with this 2 hour thing, which was just short answers, right? Where I just copied and pasted, checked it to see if it would like get flagged, and it said that it was. So I spent time trying to fix it and run it through, and it kept saying that it was AI. And so I ran out of time, and like that's where it all just spiraled from there. So I should pass, but it's absolutely insane. It's just tort law. I've done tort law 4 times. Look at the last time I did tort law. Got fucking 80%. But you won't recognise it. And now they're just it's like they're just actively trying to sabotage it or something. I don't know. And these are all lawyers. Apparently this is a law school. I imagine other parts of the university are even worse. Right? And it's just insane. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Anyway, so that's what I've been, just getting the shits on with all of it because like I've done everything that everyone ever asked of me. I've worked hard. I do all the right things. I do what people say to do, and then I show up to do it. And then all of this bullshit, it's like, is it just me, or is there something wrong with me that I see? It's like, why do people roll over and just let people install eye tracking software on your computer without an ability to opt out? It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I'm just fucking pissed off about that. Pissed off about that today because that happened last night, and I probably burned. And now, because I was running out of time, I had to copy and paste what was in there. It wasn't very good because I was halfway through trying to make it not get tripped up. So I removed stuff. I had to copy and paste it at the last minute. And like it's badly worded, and I've missed bits, and I've missed a section. So I was too busy, and it kicked me out while I was in the middle of trying to absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like this is what I'm putting up with. So I'm actually thinking of moving. I don't know. I've got to look at a different university. I'm thinking of going internal because this. Like, if they're going to be policing us like this, if this is what it means to be studying as an external student, I'd rather turn up in person and, this. It's insane. Absolutely insane, especially for a shitty university. No offense, but it's not exactly prestigious. I am there because I can study online. But if you're going to treat people like they're criminals, and toddlers, it's a law school, not a fucking daycare center for wayward toddlers. Like, what the fuck? It's insane. This AI policy stuff, and it's like you can't. And the fact that this is a law school is a double injury because they should know better. They should know that this is on its face legally questionable. They know this, and they're leaning on this assumption that like there's implied consent from students, and there is not. And that will be tested, and, I'm inclined to test it, to be honest with you. But now I'm in a position where if I push back, I'm difficult and constantly difficult and insubordinate because, the legal field loves that sort of, big stick. And I sit there and I go, it's not fucking worth it. If I was 22, I'd put up with it. I'm 45. Why they need me more than I need them, and I'm willing to pick my battles, but fuck me. Like, have some self-respect, Taya. Like, seriously, I can just go and work somewhere. Like, fuck me. I do wonder if it's worth it. It shouldn't be this hard. They're setting me up to fail. But yeah, so anyway, but if you're like, English is a second language or neurodivergent, like the way that this is going, we are like, we're going to be like the recipients of all of the shit coming down on our heads. And so I feel like fighting that fight on those grounds which is that like that was for a neurotypical person, that kind of stressful environment would be fine. But for someone with ADHD or autism or something like that, or, anxiety, or various other things, they might actually, like this is actually setting them up to fail, and you're taking their money and promising a service that you're not providing, which is a learning environment. I didn't sign up to fucking boot camp. I signed up to learn to be a lawyer, to be of service to people so I can solve these issues. So it's weird. I find myself in this position where I'm having to be a fucking tech lawyer to become a tech lawyer. It's fucking ridiculous. They should know better. So I'm thinking of changing universities. I'm trying not to drop out. But it's so not worth it. Anyway, but yeah, so there's not many people around today, so I think it's because the stream dropped out and stuff. I was getting a good amount of audience, but I don't think we're doing so well. And I'm sorry about all of if this light and stuff looks bad. I apologize. Like I'm still just tweaking stuff, and also my face seems to have fallen. I seem to need different lighting now. I don't know what's happened. This is ridiculous. Sick of everyone's shit. But like and everything, and I've been in a lot of pain too. So like I've got nerve pain. So, and the cold makes it worse. And Paul went and got a bunch of firewood, and I've been like chopping wood and making fires every day. And it is very funny, but it's a nice little hypnotic experience. Meditative experience, sort of just chopping wood and, all that sort of stuff, that repetition and stuff. But it is very funny because I've become very emotionally involved in this wood business and this fire business. Like it is funny when you're chopping wood and you're trying to do all that sort of stuff. You've got wood that will comply with your wishes and wood that won't. And you find yourself, like there's wood that's got knots in it that won't submit. So, you get an extra, I feel very, very happy when that log goes and burns, like, and I sit there and I'm like, I get genuinely joyful and happy when a log does when it just slides, when it just, I'm weird. But I've been trying to do more sort of slow stuff, trying to be slower, more considered. And that does feed sort of to this channel and live streaming and stuff. I am going to try and do more pre-recorded material and more. I'm sorry I haven't been around, and I feel bad about it. I'm sorry I haven't been showing up. I've just been in the, this is one of the first things that sort of falls to the wayside when I get busy or things happen in my life, and I'm also just struggling with motivation. I mean, my ex account's dead. Like, there's no point doing anything there anymore. Threads is doing okay. LinkedIn's doing really well. I'm enjoying LinkedIn. LinkedIn's going gangbusters for me. So it's probably, how many times I can sort of get really high engagement before I take the hint and go, fuck you, ex. But yeah, so, and I'm just not an Instagram person. So it's like, yeah, and Facebook, I don't even use it anymore. Does anyone use Facebook anymore? I don't. I'm just figuring stuff out, and also just writing more. And I've also, as part of that whole being sort of slower and more considered, I've been learning to sit more on first, second, third drafts. Things are sort of sitting away. Hi, Judith. So I've been being more considered in my writing, keeping more to myself, and making sure, trying to work on things being more done before I put them out in the world. So there is a little bit of dormancy there, mostly not because I haven't been doing stuff, but because when I used to just shit out sort of first drafts and, write quickly and all of that sort of stuff and do Twitter threads and all that sort of stuff, I'm keeping more to myself. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping more under my hat until I'm ready to have a finished piece and trying to add a bit more polish. Now, unfortunately, that takes some time and there's a backlog there. But I'm also I'm thinking of paying my son to sort of create a few like clip videos, compilation videos or whatever, and, of some of my older content and sort of revisit some of those things. Even if I take a clip from that and then add to it and build on it or explain it or react to it or whatever, I've got, so hundreds and hundreds of hours, I think easily 1,000 hours of content there that really hasn't gone anywhere, done anything. And there's a lot of really good stuff there that I haven't that I just need to package up. So I'm working on all of that, which is a massive amount of work. That plus cleaning up my 30 years of written archives as well and, sorting through. So a lot of it is just in the background. But I have had, like I said, soft launched the new website design. It seems to be a little buggy, the object caching problem. And on phones and stuff. I'm working on it as I get time. So I'm just juggling as much as I can. I'm also learning. I'm also cooking more. I've never really been a baker, but I've been getting into baking lately. So I've been enjoying that. I've always been a good cook, but not really into baking. I perfected the pizza. We got a $50 pizza oven from Marketplace. A wood fire pizza oven, just, one of those ones from Bunnings, right? The hardware store ones. And it was a secondhand thing. Someone was selling it. It was $50, and it is seriously the best investment we ever made. Obviously, it wasn't just $50 because it was also my time. Like I had learned how to make a proper Neapolitan Italian pizza base. Now, I worked in an Italian restaurant when I was at uni and in high school and stuff, so I do obviously know how to make pizza dough and stuff. I have actually, Judith has said open a pizza shop. I was actually saying, because when Paul was made redundant, he got a little bit of a payout. We decided to just get out of debt instead, which was the smarter choice. But then we thought about whether we should reinvest the money a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but whether we should reinvest it into something like a coffee van or a pizza truck or something like that. And I have considered it. But the margins are too high. There's no margin in that stuff anymore. I have considered setting up a business because I would like to actually set up my dream is to have a space, cafe, restaurant, bar that works around the clock as a multi-purpose space. But it's also got accommodation and a retreat. I'd love to just buy an old hotel that has accommodation upstairs, like Faulty Towers basically, but, like an old pub. And I'd love to have something like that that's sort of where you can have it working around the clock. So you got your morning breakfast, you got meetings, you got conferences, you got all that sort of stuff, but really create that sort of bed and breakfast type of experience. But, I just don't have the money for that. And then have it be a comedy or jazz club at night, right? That would be ideal, is to have that stuff. But you need it. You need so much money to start that now. We live in a bureaucracy where just start up alone, like just the insurances and the licenses and all those sorts of things are too much. Like I did think about getting a pizza trailer set up or a food van. But, maybe I've thought about it. Honestly, I'm getting to the point with tech and all of this, and obviously, not being able to grow an audience or anything like that, that something needs to give, So I've thought about doing food content. I've thought about setting up a sort of Paul's setting up. So when we were going to invest in like a business or something, Paul invested in some more new power tools and stuff, so that because he's creating a YouTube channel, he's got his first video coming out soon, where he does DIY projects, building furniture, all that sort of stuff, geared at, I think a few of the projects are geared at having a hobby like that while still renting, because a lot of it is around people who've got workshops or have got, the ability to put permanent fixtures. So, it's like he's going to have projects that are good, because we've just put our life on hold because we're renting. And we decided no more. I don't want to do that anymore. So we've gotten into gardening. We're just gardening in this house for the sake of gardening it. I think I started to, I've actually been wanting to write about this too, where I started to get into a little bit of a resentful mindset and I'm not a transactional person, right? I'm not somebody who goes, I only do things if people give me stuff back. I'm more of a relational person where I think that what goes around comes around. And what this property situation has done to me, I actually realized, and I said this to Paul, what it has done to me is create a resentment towards the real estate agents and the landlords and everything like that. I've been so angry at this stuff that I've lost who I am, because I used to, we used to love the houses that we were in. We used to care for them. And the gardens it was always in a better condition than when we were there. And over time we found that not appreciated. So, we sat with this house for 2 years with a sandpit in the backyard because we were like, fuck it. And I actually said, enough, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to, we're fixing it. Let's just fix it. Let's just do it and hope for the best. Now, they did renew the lease, and, I have said but there's no loyalty. They don't care. And that's the thing about that's the part of the rental market. I think people are starting to talk about it, but when you actually dehumanize tenants and dehumanize people who rent and treat them like shit and treat them the way that landlords do at the moment, when you do that, you lose people who are invested in looking after the house. We always love, and I found myself not caring about anything. We've got this dining room area, and we'd moved every year for 4 years throughout the pandemic because of greedy fuckers. This house is quite large. It's quite a large area in the back that we just didn't bother furnishing it. We just put the outdoor table indoors and just left it there. We're like, we're not going to furnish anything. Why would we bother doing anything that's remotely bespoke for this house? And that's really sad, because I'm not that person. I like to enjoy my life, and I like pottering, and I like cooking, and joined the cactus cult, and it's like something's got to give, because you end up with I'm seeing more streets with neglected gardens, more people who are, you can tell that people don't give a shit anymore. And rightly so. If you're being charged $800 a week for, that's what I think we're paying, $800, something like that. No. Or something like, I don't know, can't remember. It went up. But some in our area, they're charging $850 to $900 a week to families, and treating us like shit. They're not doing repairs, not doing anything. Our landlord, our owner's actually pretty good. They did put solar in. Not enough solar to cover the cost of the house, mind you, but they put some solar in. But you end up just going, fuck it. It's shelter. It's not a home. It's someone else's, it's not, there's no point. And that's the most depressing part about all of this contempt for people who are paying your mortgage, which is effectively what we're doing. We're paying more for someone else's mortgage than we would for our own, because we don't have the deposit. We can meet the mortgage repayments, but nobody can get a $150,000 deposit together. Fucking hell. Anyway, so can't remember. Oh yeah, so I've been cooking, baking. I've been. Another thing that I've realised is that, and again, this is something that you've got to have the luxury to do, right? We've got the space, we've got the big kitchen, we've got, when we're in a smaller house, it would have been harder to do. But I've gone and started buying things like in bulk, like because I've got the business, I can go to the restaurant supplier type places where I can buy things in, like catering sized cans. I can buy flour in, massive bags. Like we've got a Costco membership, but Costco isn't cheaper. Costco isn't wholesale technically, as it, like Costco doesn't have value like that wholesale does. Okay. That sentence didn't come out right. What Costco is you pay retail prices and they're big scale. It's a false economy. You're just buying more at retail. You're not actually, whereas I actually go to the places where restaurants go. So I buy, the the giant cans of pizza sauce and the giant cans of pineapple, canned pineapple and pepperoni for pizza, olives and that sort of stuff. It's like $10 for these big, if you've worked in a restaurant, you know the cans I'm talking about. And it's like $11 for a big thing of olives like that, and they freeze. So what I do is we've got the freezer, and I know this is probably really boring, but this is something I could actually, maybe it's not. If you want to know more about how I have figured out how to sort of, again, there's a lot of, you got to have the space, you got to be able to buy in bulk, you got to have a business registration number, all those sorts of things. But if you're in that position, you can get a membership to something like Campbell's, where you can go in the restaurant supply place. That stuff freezes. So what I do is I actually will open the big thing of olives, right? And then I'll just put them in little baggies in the freezer, and I just pull them out as I needed. So now I'm at a position where I can make any kind of amazing pizza, like wood-fired pizza, which is comparable to any restaurant, if not better. Paul says that my pizza is the best he's ever had, and that's really hard to do, okay, because he's like, fussy. But what I do is I just pull out whatever I feel like. So I've got pepperoni in little snack bags, the little Ziploc bags. I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to go compostable with those things because they're not really good for the environment, but I do try to reuse them as well. But I do have some compostable because it's the business place. You can get the little compostable containers and like those, the sugarcane things and those sorts of things, the biopack, so that will work as well. So I put because pizza sauce freezers, tin pineapple freezers, jalapenos, anything that's like canned mostly freezes, unless it's like got gelatin and stuff in it. And you save so much money that way. Like one big can of pizza sauce like this, which is equivalent to about, I don't know, probably about more than that. A lot more. 8 cans of like pasta sauce, right? 8 sort of ordinary jars. And it's like $11, and it's, so if you can do that and you can get the membership and you can invest, and also I buy flour in massive bags. So it's just, and yeast, I buy everything in bulk now, and I've got a fully stocked pantry. I'm very, again, I have the time and I have the ability to buy bulk, because we were at Paul's previous job, we were paid monthly. So it kind of became a necessity to do everything like that and shop for the month. So this became the way that I would do that. But, I can just go and put on I've got everything I need to just make donuts or make this or make that and, learn how to do that. Now, Paul bought me a mixer. I got a KitchenAid mixer as well. So we did blow out a little bit. We should, but they're things that I've needed for a while, including the new lens. But we have invested, and it has paid for itself well and truly. If you've got get a freezer, get a low, we've got an upright freezer, and buy bulk and freeze a lot of things in individual servings. I sort of cook and put stuff in food containers, and some of them I try to find compostable ones. So I've made my life a lot easier. There's always something it's just something that I've gotten good at and optimized, and I'm happy to do a actual proper post and guide to this stuff. If people are interested in it, it's something that And I also have been learning how to propagate succulents, which is fun, and how to because as part of cleaning up the backyard, we've got a lot of succulents and stuff that I'm just sort of, you can basically get free plants. You don't have to buy plants. You just propagate them, right? You just cut the heads off of the things. I've got loads and loads of jade, and you just sort of put those around and that sort of stuff. So, like there's I've been learning stuff mostly as an escape from this online stuff because, like every time I log on to X, it's like it's either dead, which is mostly dead. I think it's mostly no one's. I was retweeted by Cory Doctorow the other day, right? And he's incredibly influential in my space. There would be at least a handful of like-minded people that would follow me in return because there's a strong crossover. Like him and I have a strong crossover in what we do. I didn't get one follower from it. I don't think I'm seen at all. I think I'm literally, so I really do believe, like, it is really unusual. Like, it's not like it was just a random thing. It was like there is 100% a handful of people who should be following me after seeing his retweet of me when I was talking about like Spotify and stuff. Nothing. LinkedIn, like same post, 500 likes, reactions, comments, lively interactions, messages, followers. I've got a follow account that's pretty much heading up on LinkedIn as Twitter now. So I may end up just abandoning it all for Twitter. And the Threads API is open, so I can automate that. But once Blue Sky's API, I think Blue Sky does have an API. I've just got to connect to it. But it's like once I set up all these automations, it's like, yeah, why would you bother with X? It's like, and every time I log on there, it's just people being, okay, so here's three things. People being nice to me, okay, which is great. Like Judith is here, obviously, and, there's the occasional conversations back and forth. So there's that. There's always that element. That's what keeps you there. But then there's people who've been following me for years who say stuff where it's obvious they've never read a thing I've ever said or seen a thing I've said or follow me at all. And now it might be because people aren't seeing me, but it's like, how long have we known each other? And you just, so there's that. Then I get annoyed. I go, okay, so you fucking, what's the point in doing anything? Twitter's really good at making you feel like there's no point to doing anything and talking about anything. And then you get the stupids who are people who just willfully misunderstand you and decide, that, so there's that. And then there's just the negativity and the bitching. My whole feed is bitching, negativity and negativity and negativity. And it just gets worse and worse. Like, it doesn't matter how much I curate. It's just leans so negative these days, right? And so, it's still important for news and those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, if nobody is seeing me, there's not really much point posting. Even if people I've got some pretty big names following me, and if they're not seeing it, there's no point in them following me, is there? Other than the fact that I might be able to DM them, and I don't do DMs. I'm too socially anxious to DM people. But it's what's the point? And it's only, again, it's just sunk costs and habit at this point. But we'll see how we go. It's just, I can't believe it. Yeah. Anyway, I want to talk more about I think people have come somewhat back to sanity and back to earth on the gender stuff and back to earth on COVID stuff and back to earth on speech. And they're seeing this censorship. And every day I'm seeing stories about, interference in elections, controlling social media narratives. I think this whole IDF Israel thing has really brought some much needed unity to the left, and people have sort of rallied. I think masks have slipped on this issue. It is one of those issues where I think, your politics. If you are, it's a pretty clear. It's a complicated issue, but it's not complex. Okay. And you've got to learn the difference between complex and complicated. It's complicated in that there's a lot of history and a lot of information, and a lot of bullshit and a lot of propaganda and stuff like that. But it's not complex in the sense that genocide is not the answer to anything. It's a pretty, and yeah. So it's that's not the solution, and it's yeah. So I think lines are drawn pretty clear there. Honestly, it is something that I've got Jewish friends, and I haven't really raised it, to be honest with you, because I value my friendships. But at the end of the day, if it is a friendship ending issue, I'm okay with that, because it seems to me like emotional blackmail is all. And I won't be emotionally blackmailed by anybody. Had that done by how many people now? It doesn't work on me, and it won't work with this. Okay. Like my biggest thing at the moment is worrying about my sons being fucking drafted over my dead body, like literally. Not happening. But yeah, so I hope everyone's well. Yeah. Sorry about the failed stream. It's probably made things a little harder. But if you're watching the replay, I appreciate it. And I'm getting my shit together. I need to get my shit together. I feel really bad about patrons particularly being neglected. I'm trying to think about the best value. I've got two sons. My oldest son, I've got a daughter who's 23, son who is 18, 19 in November. Jesus Christ. And my youngest son is 15. And so, they are the light of my life. And I've got a stepdaughter as well who is 19, something like that. 20 this year. 20 now. 20 this month. They're the light of my life. Like, they're good people. Like, regardless of what... Again, this is something that I'm writing as well about, like all this stuff about Gen Z. It's not true. Like, if you look at the data, it's think about what kind of realities of the world that Gen Z have been exposed to in such a short period of time. They're resilient as fuck. And maybe we should, this generation, like they're I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that. I'm sure that you feel the same way, Judith, which is like, I'm sure you've got people that you know who are just, they're just reactionary, and kids today. I think that you start to become old, right? When you see everything that young people do as like, like that. Like, I think that's how you age. When you become contemptuous of the generations that come after you. And I refuse to do that. I mean, they confuse me. What, this skibbity fucking bullshit? I can hear him now. Jules, what's this skibbity? What does skibbity mean? He says, I don't know. And Riz? What are the other words? Skibbity and Riz and all this shit that Angus says. Riz is like having pizzazz. Charisma, yeah, I know that. Yeah. And skibbity is skibbity's like just a nothing word, right? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. See, my 19-year-old, 18-year-old is going, he doesn't understand his younger brother. That's how it's, people vary. But yeah, so I'm streaming, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, so it's yeah, but I think that's how you get old. You get old when you become bitter, I think. And I refuse to get bitter and stuff. But yeah, so that's right. So I was going to talk a little bit about the AI thing. And I'll be covering this quite a bit. It is funny. Fucking hell. This is the thing. People who follow me, like people who followed me for years now, have interacted with me So they're going to see me unless they don't. Like but anyway, they go, have you thought about using AI? Or what's your position on AI? And I go, oh my God, I've been basically spurging out over it for fucking a year now. Oh my God. Anyway, it's pretty funny. I do wonder, you know how you sit there and you go, I wonder if it is worth bothering to speak most of the time. But I am going to, a lot of the fault has been in me not being organised and everything that's like of value being buried in streams or sitting in drafts and that sort of stuff. I do need to get my shit together and start doing, because YouTube rewards uploads as well. Dark Angel, I haven't seen anything from you in years, so I was surprised to see this post. Yesterday, a woman on a space said that she's planning to monetize her content, not for money, but to reach a wider audience. Yep, they tend to do that. Okay. Yeah, people say, okay, so people always monetize their content. I'm sorry, I'm not being dismissive. I'm just not clear. Oh yeah, sorry, my mistake. Sorry, it took me a few seconds. You know, you're correct. You're absolutely correct, which is that it is pay to play. Sorry, I misunderstood. I was yeah. It's hard sometimes when you've got a multi-line chat and it takes a bit to digest what's being said. I haven't seen anything, so I was surprised to see this post. Yesterday, a woman on space said she's planning to monetize her content, not for money, but to reach a wider audience. So yes. So premium. So X premium, I've got premium plus. Does fuck all for me. I still only get, my 15-year-old is on X for just, you know, his gaming and stuff. I think he's got like 40 followers max. He gets more views on his tweets than I do on mine with Premium Plus. So there's something going on with my account. Also, my other account gets a lot more reach, but I just, it's sunk cost stuff. Anyway, so there's that. So even if you're in Premium Plus, you don't circumvent any fuckery on your Twitter account. The other account does better than this one, but this one has the followers that like I like to talk to and that sort of thing. So it's a bit, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. With YouTube, yes. So if you're in the partner program, they push you more in the algorithm. But also my problem has been one of resources and consistency and that sort of stuff, right? So YouTube does reward uploads. It rewards watch time, and you kind of, I have been a victim of mass reporting and stuff in the past, but not to a huge extent. But it is a combination. It's a lot of different things. But yes, you're correct. If you do want to reach a wider audience, you should pay for. You have to pay for reach now. If you're on YouTube, you're better off putting it behind AdSense. AdWords. AdSense is the other one. AdWords. So you can promote your video, get yourself on the recommendation campaigns and that sort of stuff, and target your things. And also, if you're on Facebook, pay for they're getting to the point where you've got to pay for verification to even get seen, and you're going to have to boost your posts and all of that sort of stuff. So that's the reality of it. My account on X is an anomaly that is unfortunate, but yeah. So it's not really something that is fixable, because it's just. Have you seen it lately? So I'm just kind of deciding what the next thing is. But also, but on YouTube, yes, get your, I just haven't invested the time and effort. Editing takes a long time. And I'm not good at pre-recording content, because like it's a fucking full-time job to edit regular content. So, and as I've said before, I won't use offshore labour. I won't use exploited labour. I won't use interns. Even if I get my son to do it, I will pay him. But I'm the bottleneck with that stuff, because I need to hand over to him and brief him and all that sort of stuff. And I've been a bit busy. So it is a self-fulfill. It is kind of a death spiral. partially my own doing, but the X thing is a different thing altogether. LinkedIn, I'm fine. Like, I'm loved on LinkedIn. LinkedIn loves me. Okay. But even then, I've got LinkedIn Premium. I don't pay for LinkedIn Premium. Who the fuck can afford that? I know people at LinkedIn, so I get the gifted membership. I get LinkedIn Premium. But yeah. So it's I don't know why I keep going with X. It's an addiction, and it's like I said, sunk costs. And just when you go, I'm done with this place, I'm calling it, something cool happens or something nice happens, and you're like, it keeps you going. It's like, fuck me, I'm on the hook again. But yeah, so you should be monetizing. Even Google, even SEO, like, you're better off. Like, this was, okay, so back in, God, even 2017, when we had the agency, the advice that I was giving was that you should buy AdWords and do an AdWords campaign. You should do your technical SEO. That takes longer, but what the technical SEO does is it reduces your cost. Okay, so it's not so much that you are, because the harder it is to promote your stuff, and they kind of link together. I know this is boring shit, but like, your organic should link with your paid. And if you're investing well in your organic traffic, you pay less for your paid traffic. Okay, because there's still a quality score attached to a lot of that stuff. You still ultimately got to have good content, but you're far better off, rather than A/B testing and agonizing over over organic content and tweaking every bit of SEO. Get your SEO up to scratch technically, so that you got a good quality score, and your relevance and all that sort of stuff is okay, and then pour money on it. It's just the best way to go. And it's like, YouTube is pay to play too. If you're getting certain people repeating on your autoplay, and recommendations, it's usually because they're paying for that campaign. Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent there, but yes, you're correct. And your friend is correct. Because but I don't even get I don't get anything out of Premium Plus other than the edit button, and there's literally no value in it. For me, I get zero engagement. It gets nowhere. So I just keep it in the hope that it's going to improve, but I don't think it will. There's not really any incentive to do so. All they want to do is basically gaslight me and say that there's no problem, which there is. And at the end of the day, when things line up legally, I could probably pursue a complaint against them and get my records and stuff. But I'm waiting for these sorts of things to the cogs need to work. You need to have a claim. You need to have a case. You can't just sue people frivolously, because you'll lose. And if you keep doing that, you get, the more lawsuits you file, the more likely you are to be seen as a vexatious litigant and those sorts of things. And, so I'm just waiting for the right time and the right cases, and also being qualified if I can get through this tedious bollocks, like with all of, I'm in two minds about it. It just feels like such an epic waste of time. It's just the wrong strategy across the board. I can't believe they're banning, they're like, oh yeah, ban grammar tools, ban grammar. Oh, fuck me. Anyway, it's an open book exam, but you can't use AI, but we're going to record your screen, but we can see if you're using AI. And we can compare your answer to the AI because we're recording your screen, but it's open book and you can Google, but Google has AI built in, as does all of your operating system. But what we're going to do is invade your privacy instead and create bullshit rules. And what we're going to do is accuse you of using AI even when you don't. And it doesn't work. It's bullshit. I've got a whole rant about that. But yeah, anyway. I'm actually planning to write an article on that. I've got that sitting in my drafts as well. I've got so many things sitting in my drafts. But I'm glad that you have seen me, Dark Angel. That's an improvement. Yeah. So maybe I finally, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to be a bit more disciplined with the whole uploading to YouTube stuff. The YouTube algorithm stuff is probably my own fault. Like not being in the like resigning from the partner program, not doing the shorts, not doing the things that people have to do. I don't write the descriptions. I can't be asked. It's just basically been a placeholder for. I've been a bit adrift with it, and it's like and also, do you want an audience? I mean, people who have audiences, if you watch their brains melt, I don't want to do that. I can't. So I like a quiet life. I like I like the medium, and I like the community part of it, and I like the positive parts, but the negative parts, it's like it really is. If it's not really making you anything, it's not. It's not really worth it if you're getting abuse all the time and not. Like it. That's why I do love it when people say. That's why I do love it when people say, "Keep going," and I appreciate you, and all of that sort of stuff. And I look forward to, because it does keep me going, because most of it is just tumbleweeds and abuse, and people recommending that I try AI. Anyway, I think that might be me and my time to go, because I've got stuff to do, but I needed to show up. I will be back. I'll probably be back Wednesday, probably. I'm going to try and stream more often. And like health depending, because I've been in a bit of pain lately and I need my pain medication adjusted. But I'll see how I go. But yeah, I will schedule it and keep you updated. And thank you, Judith. And I'm glad you showed up today. I appreciate it very much. And also the technical stuff. People probably don't even know I'm streaming. But anyway, I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be doing something that's probably a bit more focused around the theme. I was going to talk about like AI and activism and what I see happening in that space, but I might just save that for a focused stream, because my experience with activism over the years has been that certain people glom onto it and end up undermining the cause. Like they end up actively sabotaging the cause, taking the money, selling the t-shirts and running off and like actually doing harm to the original cause. So I just want to, talk about that a little bit, and a bit of a cautionary tale, because you're seeing a lot of these people who are just new to the AI issues because they're creators. Okay, so they're like, artists or whatever, and they're seeing an opportunity. And the thing about artists is that they do value clout, okay, quite a bit, and they're seeing the clout in it. And so I'll do it with the Adobe thing as well, because I'm actually a big Adobe fan. But I've been obviously they've overstepped well and truly. But I'm seeing people who have built careers using Adobe, who generally provide great value for anyone in the creative industries. And now they just turn around and start being anti-Adobe because it's cool and popular to do so. And yet again, I end up having to be the reasonable grown up and go, you know what, like it's not that simple. And sort of defend Adobe because you got the rah-rah, and because they found that there's an audience in just hating on tech. And it's like, fucking hell, stop it. Don't be a dickhead. But because they're creatives and they're like mostly, artists, and they're looking for clout and all that sort of stuff, they're wandering out of their lane for a start, and also being counterproductive to the cause, because they're not actually dealing with these issues in a mature fashion. So I'll talk about that a little bit more. And I'll also recommend maybe some people who you should follow and listen to on these issues, because there's a lot of noise. And I do want to try and start distilling a bit more. I've just got to I've got so many drafts and stuff. I'm just tired. So much to do. But I will be back on probably Wednesday. I'll schedule for Wednesday. And thanks for watching. And thank you for your precious life seconds. I got to piss, all those things. Become a patron if you want. And if you're watching the replay, never, ever expect it. If you cannot afford it, don't. Okay. It's nice if you can, but I would never ever guilt you. And none of my stuff is ever going to be fully paywalled. The only thing I may ask you to do is register, but there will be a free tier at all times, okay, for all of my stuff. And the only reason that I would get you to register is because I need to. I think most people are going to have some sort of wall and gates around the scraping, the AI scraping and stuff like that. So as it is, like Automatic are looking at like selling. So like, yeah, so I've got to look at like how I can avoid being scraped by AI. I believe everything should be free as much as possible, and that people will pay if they value you. And I firmly believe in that model. And so that's the model going forward. Win, lose or draw, right? But you will never, ever have to be forced to pay unless you're obviously in a business capacity asking for a consult or those sorts of things. Obviously, that's got value to it. But for content, I will never charge for information. I'll charge for access, and there might be the occasional members only stream or Discord or whatever, but you'll always have access if you want. Right? If you're if you're a long-term person, it's never dependent on your ability to pay. So I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. I love you. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye.